So, I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I want to apologize to Chris's family. In 2025, Will Smith's new album failed harder than anyone expected. It didn't even make the charts and the US critics called it desperate. But Will had his own explanation. He said the backlash wasn't because he slapped Chris Rock on live TV, he said it was because of his skin color. He even hinted that he might run for office one day. The reaction was instant and harsh. Even people who once defended him couldn't support what he said next. Will Smith was born on September 25, 1968, in West Philadelphia. His mom worked for the school board, and his dad repaired refrigerators. On the outside, their life looked normal, but behind closed doors, it was painful. His father drank a lot and often hit his mother. Will saw it happen when he was just 9 years old. He froze and did nothing, and he says that moment shaped his entire identity. He hated himself for standing still, but he also loved his dad deeply. That mix of love and fear stayed with him for life. Will grew up with 3 siblings, Pamela and the twins, Harry and Ellen. Harry later said Will was usually punished first, then made jokes behind their father's back to make the others laugh, which only got all of them punished again. The house taught Will one thing: he had to be perfect or he'd get hurt. Their neighborhood was a mix of cultures. The Smiths were Baptist, but Will went to a Catholic school called Our Lady of Lourdes, surrounded by Orthodox Jewish families and a large Muslim community. It confused him. At Overbrook High School, where legends like Wilt Chamberlain once studied, he still faced racism. He said police officers called him slurs more than 10 times growing up. When white kids felt safer seeing the police, Will felt fear. One of his teachers nicknamed him Prince Charming because he could talk his way out of anything. That eventually became the Fresh Prince. Will never applied to MIT, despite the myth. He had good scores, and his mom had connections, but he wanted something else: music. He started rapping at 12, mixing humor with storytelling. When he was 16, he met Jeff Towns, DJ Jazzy Jeff, at a party. Jeff's hype man didn't show up. Will grabbed the mic, and they connected instantly. In 1986, they released Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble, right before Will finished high school. But life was tough at home. His parents separated when he was 12, and money got tight. He helped his dad's business, where discipline was strict like the military. He hated it, but it taught him to work hard. In 1987, Jeff and Will released Rock the House. It sold 300,000 copies and got them noticed. Then everything exploded. In 1989, Parents Just Don't Understand won the very first Grammy for Best Rap Performance. But even that win was controversial. Their fun, clean style didn't match the tougher rap scene of the time. Still, they became one of the few rap groups to go platinum. Then came disaster. Will owed the IRS $2.8 million. He'd spent money on cars and jewelry without paying taxes. The IRS took most of what he owned. He even borrowed $10,000 from a drug dealer to survive. In 1990, Quincy Jones invited him to a party. Right there, in a living room full of producers, Quincy pushed him to audition on the spot. Will had 10 minutes to prepare. He performed, and he got the job that same night. That job became the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But Will wasn't an actor yet. On set, he would mouth other people's lines while they were speaking, which annoyed everyone. Over time, he learned, and the show became a classic. The emotional scene where he breaks down about his father leaving again was real. Will wasn't acting, he was digging into old wounds, his friends' stories, the pain he saw growing up. It became one of the most iconic scenes in TV history. Not everything behind the scenes was smooth. Janet Hubert, the original Aunt Viv, was fired in 1993. Will made comments in interviews that hurt her deeply. She accused him of getting her fired and called him arrogant. Their fight lasted nearly 30 years until they finally reconciled in 2020. By the end of the show, Will had paid off his IRS debt and was becoming a movie star. Some say he earned up to $300,000 per episode by the final season, but that's never been confirmed. He kept making music too. Summertime, written during an airport delay, became a massive hit. But labels wanted him to be edgier. He refused. He wanted to keep his clean image, even if it meant quitting. In 1993, LL Cool J accused Will of copying his style. The fight split the rap world between hardcore artists and family-friendly ones like Will. After their album Code Red, Will focused fully on acting. The Fresh Prince ended in 1996, and the movie career that followed changed everything. His first roles were Small, Where the Day Takes You in 1992, then 6 Degrees of Separation in 1993. He refused to do a kiss scene with another man because he wasn't confident enough yet, something he later regretted. Then came the big breakthrough, Bad Boys in 1995. It made over $140 million, even though filming was chaotic. Will and Martin Lawrence argued, and director Michael Bay paid for certain scenes with his own money because the studio refused. In 1996, Independence Day turned Will into one of the biggest stars on earth. But around that time, he made one of the biggest mistakes of his career. He turned down the role of Neo in The Matrix because he didn't understand the director's vision. Instead, he did Wild Wild West. In 1997, Men in Black hit nearly $600 million. But Will often challenged the designs and ideas, causing delays and more spending. Reshoots became normal. Still, audiences loved him. Enemy of the State in 1998 upset the NSA. Years later, when Snowden revealed the truth about surveillance, people said the movie had predicted everything. For Ali in 2001, Will gained 35 pounds, trained all day, and moved to high altitude to make workouts harder. Ali himself had to call him to convince him to take the role. Will earned an Oscar nomination, but the movie didn't make much money. Men in Black 2 in 2002 broke records, but now the budgets were enormous. Will made $20 million plus part of the profits. Hollywood became used to paying him massive numbers. In 2007, I Am Legend showed a different side of him. To prepare, he isolated himself for long periods. The loneliness affected him mentally. When the world went into lockdown years later, the movie suddenly felt prophetic. In 2008, Hancock went through heavy editing. Will wanted a darker, deeper story about race and trauma, but studios cut it after test audiences reacted badly. They wanted something safer. That same year, 7 pounds pushed him emotionally too far. The storyline about guilt and suicide brought up painful memories. He had panic attacks and went to therapy afterward. In 2013, After Earth became one of the biggest flops of his career. Critics attacked him for casting his son, and the movie's failure damaged their relationship. People called it a vanity project. Will's box office power started to fade. Then came Concussion in 2015. He played Dr. Bennett Omalu, and the movie exposed brain injuries in football. The backlash was intense. Football fans threatened him, and the FBI had to protect him at one point. And all of this leads to where he is now, a man trying to rebuild his image, but still facing the consequences of his choices, from the Oscars slapped to the public and private battles that shaped him.